welcome to this, and this is finally going to be the review, my pay-per-view review for Take No Prisoners, and I'm going to talk about a little bit other things as well. As I've reviewed this already, this will be the third time I've talked about this pay-per-view. I, of course, talked about it the night of the pay-per-view taping, as I was there live. This took place WrestleMania weekend, and of course, if you saw my video with Crazy Mike, MB, Gilbert Blaze, Giver, C-Dude, I think that was everybody that was there. You've seen that video. We talked about this. We talked about this event there as well. So there's all of that. So I'm not going to go into too much detail. I'm just going to kind of go over it a little bit. So there is that. We started the pay-per-view out with Colt Cabana versus Ace Steel, which was and unfortunately they did not. The announcers didn't go into great detail into one of the most important parts of this match, which was at the beginning of the match. They start checking the top rope, and the announcers don't explain why they're checking the top rope or why the fans were chanting "check the top rope," or why the fans were so into it and thought it was so awesome that they did what they did. So that hurt this match. The night before, they had during the six-man on Supercard of Honor, the top rope broke, and yeah, so this was a little bit of comedy thrown into it, which was completely missed on the pay-per-view, which not so great, so blah, blah, blah. Next, we had Kevin Steen, El Generico, Jay Briscoe, and Magno versus Chris Hero, Eddie Edwards, Davey Richards, and Incognito, and a very fun X Division style six-man, which was a lot of fun, and your basic X Division spot fest type of match. A lot of fun. Really enjoyed it live. Enjoyed it watching it on the pay-per-view as well, as they were able to get a lot of the camera angles and all of that. So that was good. Next we had Necro Butcher versus Jimmy Jacobs. Was curious how this would come off on pay-per-view due to the fact that of where I was sitting when they went up into the stands on the during the pay-per-view taping. I wasn't able to see the match. This is the first time I was actually able to see a lot of the things that they did, and particularly the spot where Jimmy Jacobs suplexed Necro Butcher onto the floor. That was on the opposite side of me, so I saw them suplex and I heard the thud, but I didn't see the carnage afterwards. So I did enjoy this a little bit more. I thought this was a good hardcore match, kind of what you would expect against these guys, or with these guys. Some just good kind of fun. Then we had Brent Albright versus Claudio Castagnoli and Blue Demon Jr. This was a three-way with tag rules, which was kind of crazy. They didn't even explain it to us, and Claudio basically had to chant to the fans, or tell the fans that it was tag rules, as they didn't do a very good job. Originally, this was supposed to be a tag team match, and yeah, everything just kind of, with Nigel's injury, this match kind of just got thrown out there, and it was kind of what it was, unfortunately. So, yeah, it wasn't very good. It was kind of just blah. Next we had Roderick Strong versus Alex Kozlov. Will somebody, WWE TNA, sign Alex Kozlov? I know he's in AAA at the moment, and if you would like to see Alex Kozlov and more of Alex Kozlov, he was in the last year's World X Cup. If you would like to see more of him, you can see him on AAA. But, versus Roderick Strong, I was curious how this would come off as well. This came off pretty good. This was another good match, I felt. Nothing great, but I just felt it was pretty good. And a lot of fun, a lot of good spots. Some it worked very well. And I after this event, I became a very big Kozlov fan. Next we had Jerry Lynn versus Bryan Danielson, Erick Stevens, and D'Lo Brown. This was good. Not great, not as good as you would hope it would be. Erick Stevens and D'Lo Brown just didn't really work very well together, and kind of hurt this match in my opinion. But I thought Jerry Lynn and Bryan Danielson did a pretty good job during this match, and it was okay for what it was. But then we got to the reason why you should order this pay-per-view, and why this pay-per-view is great and wondrous all in one. And that is Tyler Black and Kenta versus Austin Aries and Nakajima. You basically had you had Tyler Black and Austin Aries. We know what they've been able to do in the ring together. And then you had Kenta and Nakajima. Now, for those of you that don't know, Kenta and Nakajima have pretty much been tearing it up in Japan in a major, major way. If you go to my matches of the year, and I think if you go to most people here on YouTube that watch a variety of wrestling, including stuff in Japan. There's a lot of other matches, amazingly enough, in Match of the Year contenders, and there's a reason for that, because they're awesome, and we got to see a little hint of that. This was a really good match. The one thing that I was hoping that they would be able to catch on the pay-per-view, they really didn't catch as much as I would have liked. You can kind of see with Austin Aries over the shoulder of Kenta when they're kind of kicking each other, and that is the facial expressions of Austin Aries and Tyler Black when Kenta and Nakajima are really just knocking the living crap out of each other. Great facial expressions, especially by Austin Aries. Really added a lot to the match, especially live, where he was just like playing to the crowd, like, oh my god, what are they doing to each other? It was really good. This was a really good match. Really enjoyed it. Enjoyed it live. Enjoyed watching on the pay-per-view. Good stuff. And this was the last Ring of Honor pay-per-view, which I think I've said this on a pay-per-view, on a video. I hope I've said this on a video. But there's enough people I've told this to that I think can back me up. I was hoping this would be the last pay-per-view that they would do, because with them now on HDNet, I really didn't see any point of them having a taped pay-per-view. It was kind of just silly and crazy for them to have. And now, luckily, this will be the end of it, and that is it. Some people, you know, the sky is falling, like they always do. Anything that they seem as bad for ROH happens. But this, in my opinion, is probably, in the long run, a good thing. There's rumors that the reason why they did this is because so 6 months from now they can do a live pay-per-view, which some people probably be a little scary of. But I think at some point they either have to go for it. You fall. If you don't, you don't. You know, 7 years. You need to finally kind of make a leap like that. In its absence, however, we have, for those of you who don't know, Dragon Gate USA, which is where Gabe is now booking. Took their, well, really didn't take their spot. Apparently it was already set up. G-Funk, who was the partner with ROH, and not a good partner, I may add. These were the people that were supposed to do a lot of the advertising, a lot of the production type of things for the pay-per-view, and particularly getting the ROH brand kind of out there, and they did an absolutely horrible job. For Dragon Gate, it's probably not too big of a deal, because I don't think they're looking at it as to make a whole lot of money, where I think Ring of Honor was really looking at it as kind of a leap, and that's not what happened, and that was a big part of it has happened. I mean, how many of you actually saw ROH pay-per-view commercials on television? I saw one, and that was on the NWA wrestling show, which I'm probably one of the few people who actually watched it, so there you go there. But they didn't really take their spot. Apparently, it was already set up. G-Funk wanted to have ROH 1 month and then Dragon Gate the next month, but ROH decided to go away with it. Like I said, the rumor is so that they can do a live pay-per-view sometime later, either at the beginning of the year, next year, or at the end of this year. So there is that. And of course, Dragon Gate announced that all of their shows apparently are going to be pay-per-views. And I will be honest, as someone who actually watches Dragon Gate, that first show, you know, I don't know if I'm going to order it on pay-per-view, because it just, unless there is something truly spectacular on that show, which just looking at it, I don't necessarily see. The Chikara match might be, the Young Bucks match, that might be as well, but that's the only two. Really, the Dragon Gate stuff, just, it really, in my opinion, looks like what you would see from an Infinity show, which is basically their TV show, and not even their pay-per-views. And they put on good pay-per-views in Japan. If you've ever seen one of their Japanese pay-per-views, they're really good for the most part and a lot of fun. But it is what it is. It's going to be, I guess the DVDs are going to be 2 months behind, and then you're going to have the pay-per-view. It'll be kind of interesting to see how that's going to work as with the streaming sites and the torrent sites and all of that, how much that's going to hurt Dragon Gate, given the fact that all those shows are already going to be out by the time the DVD comes out. So that'll be interesting to see as well. Anyways, that is all for that. With that, I am out. Have a good one, and